Yo, yo, what is going on, my fellow wrestling fans? Welcome to a brand new week and welcome to a brand new edition of what we like to call the Clash of Champions, where we talk about the different personalities, storylines, controversies, and everything in between that center around this world we know and love as professional wrestling. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Conscious Kurt, aka the Professor, aka the Excellence of Execution, today in the flesh as always. And my co-host needs no introduction, but the hell with it. He's about to give y'all one anyway.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is tag team partner Jonathan Randall, the adventurer himself. And welcome to our special edition of our Clash of Champions episode, the Back in Time segment, as we hop into our wrestling DeLorean, as we travel back in time to review special wrestling events that took place in the past. And for today's episode, we'll be traveling back to December of 2000 as we cover Armageddon 2000, which took place in Birmingham, Alabama, of all places. Sweet home Alabama. But before we get into that, Kurt, a lot of stuff has went down in the wrestling world and on both Raw and SmackDown as we lead into Saturday night's main event this Saturday, I can't wait for it.
Yes, and one of the matches scheduled for Saturday night's main event has changed, as now instead of a singles match for the World Heavyweight title, it will now be a triple threat match. And we will get into that a little bit later on. We've also had another match added as of last night, and we will also see the finals of the Women's United States title tournament. We have the semifinals taking place for that on Friday. We also have the Women's World title match between Liv Morgan and Io Sky, and obviously the WWE Championship match, the one we've been waiting for a hot minute, between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, which got very heated this past Friday on SmackDown.
Yeah, a lot of things have been getting heated lately with heading into Saturday night's main event, and as should, you know what I mean. It's on one of the most, it's on NBC, for goodness sakes. You know what I mean? NBC is a very popular and huge network. And look, WWE is no stranger to that. You know what I mean? They know their history with it. So they want to make this card as special as possible.
Yeah, and I heard apparently they're going to make it very nostalgic. Like you can already tell with the old school music they're bringing back for it and the old school graphics.
Yeah,
And the
I
homie
heard
Jesse
it.
Vin- Yeah, and the homie Jesse the Body Ventura is coming back to do announcing, which I cannot
Yeah,
wait for.
yeah.
Even though I won't be able to hear it live because I will actually be there, so I won't be able to hear his announcing. But
Oh,
I'm gonna be so happy to see him.
hey man, that's good for you that you're going to be over there. Make sure you send some
Yes,
videos so I could, post it on our page. And again, Kurt, tell me and tell our viewers what time does Saturday night's main event start?
it starts at 8 o'clock, airing on NBC and Peacock, and a little bit of a contrast from the original Saturday night's main event because it used to actually come on at 10:30. It would take over the Saturday Night Live time slot.
Got you. Can't wait for that, man. It's been a while since we seen a Saturday night's main event.
And honestly, looking back at it, I've been watching some old ones. But honestly, probably my favorite moment from Saturday night's main event probably took place in 1987 when the Mega Powers initially formed.
Ah, I'm gonna
Yeah, that
remind
was
myself of
crazy.
that because I was watching Peacock earlier today, and they had the section where you could relive all the Saturday night main events moments in certain episodes they had. So I want to dive into that, watch that, later this week before Saturday.
Yeah, that was a great moment, goes without saying. Also, the time when Jake the Snake threw his snake on Andre the Giant and it wrapped all over him, that shit was
Oh wow,
nuts too.
yeah, yeah.
Also, one of the few title changes to take place on that show was also one of my favorite moments when the Brainbusters ended Demolition's over year-long reign as tag team champions back in '89.
Oh wow, wow.
Good match too.
I gotta look into that. Um, yeah. So one of the matches on the card, you were just relating to how the match for the World Heavyweight Championship between Gunther and Finn Balor has now been a triple threat with Damian Priest added to it. I like that stipulation, how they added him in it, because it was kind of like, man, it was a bit weird how, like, first they made a one-on-one. It was, really weird and dumb how Finn Balor got, interfered in a match at Survivor Series, and then they're gonna put one-on-one. I was like, man, that just bummed me out. But I like the fact how they now made a triple threat match now.
Yeah, I figured they would go in this direction eventually, but I did not expect it so soon. But I'm
Mm.
not complaining.
No, me neither. I like it. Like I said, they need to make this card, hot. So,
And this will be the first time I get to see Gunther live.
oh,
Yeah, I never got to see him live before.
oh, okay, all right. I mean, I because remember I had the privilege of seeing him live at WrestleMania a year and a half ago. So,
Also, Damian Priest too.
okay, right, yeah, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to going to this show, man. I actually haven't been this excited to go to a wrestling show in a long time.
Yeah, and other matches has been added on. Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre.
Yes, and Drew McIntyre cut a pre-tape promo on Raw last night where he basically talked about how after Hell in a Cell, he went to Scotland to be with his family. And then one thing that upset him was watching Survivor Series and seeing all the dudes that teamed with Roman, like Punk being one example, also Sammy, Jimmy, and Jay. But he said he could understand why Punk did it because Punk took a bribe to do it. But he said that Sammy, Jimmy, and Jay he couldn't understand and he couldn't respect because of the fact that he did it so willingly, which
Hmm.
explained why he attacked Sami Zayn last week and also admitting on the spot why he attacked Jey Uso. So the mystery is solved. He was the one who committed that attack.
Yeah, it's very obvious. And speaking of that, talk about Seth Rollins. You know what I mean? We saw that promo that Seth Rollins dropped this past Monday night on Raw. That was just it. It's getting heated, man. I love it. How Seth really looked up to CM Punk and how CM Punk left and all that, and even the interview that CM Punk had that same night. All I
Oh,
gotta
that
say
was
is
great.
CM Punk cooked Seth Rollins, cooked him.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about how Rollins asked him for wrestling training for free when he was 16 and that entitlement went into his older years and how Rollins so obsessed with people putting him in their top 10 list when initially he was in the top 10 list of people who were about to get fired
Yeah,
until he shielded him from that happening.
yeah. Wow.
And he said basically everything Seth Rollins did, he did before Rollins even got there, and he did it better. And then he gave
Yeah,
him, his props for accomplishing what he did in the years he's been gone. But he said now the starter's back, and it's time for the second string to go back on the bench. Woo, woo.
I'm telling you. I tell you what, man. Look, like two things. So number one, this is kind of similar, kind of like reminds me a little bit the feud between Seth Rollins and Edge, just a little bit when he came to the accomplishments, because they are kind of both the same. They both, Money in the Bank winners, championships on their resume. But the one thing that Seth has over CM Punk is the fact that look, Seth Rollins has main event at a WrestleMania,
Oh yeah, he did say that.
right?
And Rollins also said that he tried to reach out to Punk after he left, which is actually a story that's true because a lot of people did from WWE, and Punk basically ghosted him and everybody
Yeah,
else.
that was deep and it is real. And look,
I know
sometimes,
all about that.
yeah, I know about that too. We talked about that in our past episodes, the past couple of years. But the realism, sometimes realism in wrestling storylines is good for storytelling, for business. The second thing I want to get into is that just now, earlier today, before we just got on the air, I just found out that it is rumored that they're gonna book CM Punk versus Seth Rollins on the premiere episode of Raw on Netflix. Now, I'm kind of a little bit of against that. I get that what they're doing because it's their first episode of Raw on Netflix. I kind of get that, but at the same time, that type of feud and build up, I think they should have waited for WrestleMania. Now, I don't know what they're gonna do night of. I don't know what's gonna happen. Something may happen where the match may not happen. We don't know. But as of right now, I just feel like they should hold off and let that match happen for WrestleMania.
It's still happening at WrestleMania. I definitely don't see it going any other way. I feel like that story about it happening on that first Raw on Netflix, it's all hearsay for now, but if it does happen, I think it's going to turn into like an angle. There's no way that they don't do this at WrestleMania the way
I
it's
agree.
been building for as long as it has.
I agree. And then I even, posted a little vote post whether or not should they waited for WrestleMania instead of booking it on Raw. Majority of the votes were for yes. They should have waited for WrestleMania, but it looks like I said, we don't know what's going to happen. So
Yeah, but in the middle of Rollins' promos, Sami Zayn came out to apologize for accusing him of attacking Jey Uso last week, and then
uh,
he said that like from now on, the way you want to handle your issues with CM Punk, that's on you, that's your business. But he did say that this feud with CM Punk brings out the worst in him, and he just said like the way you were acting last week, it wasn't you, like the way you like threw the blame at everybody and like pointing the finger at everybody. You were sounding less like Seth Rollins and more like Drew McIntyre.
I'm
Damn,
telling you,
son. Damn,
cooked.
son.
I'm telling you. Hey, I'm telling you, Seth Rollins is turning heel. I love it.
I know he
I, lo-
is.
I love it.
Even though he said that him and Sammy were cool when Sammy asked him, I don't think that's gonna last very long.
No, absolutely not.
And, and after Sammy announced that it's gonna be officially him and McIntyre at Saturday night's main event, he was leaving the ring, but then he was attacked from behind by McIntyre himself.
It's obvious.
Yeah, so gonna gonna be interesting to see what happens in that match on Saturday. But also, what was interesting last night on Raw was the treatment that the New Day received. Ooh, talk
Not
about the cold
surprised.
shoulder.
Not
Talk about your
surprised.
cold shoulders, bro.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they walk into the arena and like Otis and American Alpha, they don't want to talk to him or have anything to do with them. Natalia just looks away from them. And then Cody Rhodes was in Adam Pearce's office and he sees them and he's like, you two should be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
And then Kathy Kelly's trying to interview them, and then they like give Kathy Kelly an attitude, and they actually grab the camera from the cameraman. They grab the camera, and then like Xavier's like filming Kofi like walking out to the ring, and then they come into the ring and they try to explain themselves and like say they did nothing wrong. But every time they tried to talk, the crowd booed the shit out of them. Ooh,
Talk about major heat.
I
Man.
think I think Dominic has officially lost the title for getting the most heat in the company. I think that now goes to the New Day.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Especially how the way that happened, man. Man, I'm gonna say this for the record. This has to be that New Day split up. What happened? That is by far has to be the most heartbreaking moment of this year.
One of I thought you were gonna say the time Sexy Red was on the show, but I guess not.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, yeah, it just got to the point where like the crowd was booing them so hard before they could say anything that they just left. They just left the ring.
Hey, can't take the heat stay out of the kitchen. That's pretty much what happens. This is what happens, man. There's consequences for every action, and these are the consequences. So I'm just looking forward how they're going to develop this later on. I'm hoping that Big E could make a possible return. Hopefully that'll turn into a storyline going into WrestleMania, as I said this before in our previous episode.
Yeah, maybe Big E might make a surprise cameo in the Royal Rumble match, eliminate them, and that'll put everything in motion for
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yeah. It's still a bit weird and odd how the Royal Rumble's in February though.
It's early February, but I get it. I know.
It's weird. I was like, man, I'm usually like January, but that's like, damn, so
First we
weird.
had first we had SummerSlam in July a couple years ago. Now
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Very weird.
Yeah, but I said it last week. Now New Day are like the most hated men in the company. I never thought I would ever hear myself say that, but it's
Or even think
facts
about
right
even
now.
right, even and you gotta remember when they first started, they were heels.
Well, no, technically when they first started, when they had that like horrible like Tyler Perry presentation, they
Yeah.
were baby faces, but they got booed, and then they
Yeah.
eventually turned heel. They were heel for like
Oh,
a year or so, and
okay.
then that's when they took off.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I remember that SummerSlam in 2015 when they were dissing on New York hip hop and they were like they sang like a New Day version of Empire State of Mind. That actually got edited from the broadcast.
You serious?
Yeah, apparently like Jay-Z's people tried to sue them or something along those lines, and yeah, they had to
Oh
edit it.
man. Oh god.
Yeah, Jay-Z's name's been coming under hot water lately, but we don't need to dive into that right now.
Kind of been hearing about that. I didn't really dive into reading about it though, but I've been kind of hearing little snippets of he's been getting some little controversy under his name lately. So
Yeah, I don't know what's true or not true, but that's another
yeah.
story. So yeah, I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to seeing how this plays out. Definitely one of the better parts of the show, which I've been saying for months, and it's only getting better.
Mm.
And also in the main event of Raw, we had the Anything Goes match between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez, which in some ways kind of felt a little rushed because when the match started, there was only like 10 minutes left of the show. But one crazy spot was when Raquel hit Rhea with the fallaway slam, like over the announce
Yeah,
table.
I
Oof.
love that. Love that. And I'm just say this for record. I'm really happy for Raquel Rodriguez. Not only she's back, but the fact that she's in the main event on Raw, and after
Yeah,
everything
good
that she's
look.
been through, everything she's been through with her, for health conditions and everything, and now she's back and then being put in this position. I'm truly happy for her.
And apparently this was Rhea's like first singles match on Raw, like in a long time, like before her
Oh,
injury, apparently.
okay, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, but Liv Morgan, to no surprise, interfered. And there was one point where her interference was going to help Raquel Rodriguez win, but Io Sky came out to even the odds, and she took out Liv Morgan with like a drop kick and also with a dive through the second rope. Yo, that shit was nasty.
I bet.
And that would allow Rhea Ripley eventually to hit Raquel with the riptide through a table, get the win. But as Rhea was getting up, she was holding on to the belt, and at the same time, Io Sky was holding on to the belt, and they both stared at each other while holding the belt as the show ended.
Oof.
Oh shit.
Love
Oh
that.
shit.
Love that ending.
That's a match I want to see eventually, those two.
Yeah.
And I see this open door thing they're doing with Raw and SmackDown now where people are gonna possibly be moving and switching shows. Like if you watch SmackDown on Friday, you saw like Gunther there, you saw Dominic like in the background at one point too. Um American made Chad Gable and his crew, they were also there. He fought Cody in the main event. Yes, and also even last night on Raw, I think Tiffany Stratton was in the background. Also, Cody showed up. Yeah, so it's looking like people are going to be moving around soon, considering that Raw and SmackDown are going to be 3 hours starting next month.
So kind of like a draft, or is it like where they could just randomly just show up anytime? Is it like that or?
It's gonna be like trades. Like remember, like in 2002 when Stephanie and Eric Bischoff took over and they started trading people around.
Oh, yeah. I
I like
think
that. I actually liked when they were doing that. It didn't last long, but I liked it.
okay. Kind of like like in sports, like a trade deadline.
Trades,
Trade,
yeah,
yeah, like a
trades.
trade deadline. Got you. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm down. Yeah.
honestly, this could take the place of the draft. If they just do this like every couple months throughout the year instead of the draft shows, I'm good with that.
Hmm.
Yeah, because especially like the last draft show we got earlier this year, it was trash. Like pretty much nobody left the show they were on initially,
No, not really. Maybe it's really
and they
not a
just took
draft. So
up
that's
and it just took up a bunch of time. Yeah, it was a
yeah,
waste.
yeah. You're right about that. Hey.
Yeah, but one thing that was not a waste on SmackDown, one thing I really liked was that DIY heel turn.
You know, because a lot of people on Twitter were talking about that, saying they should have went heel, and I was ignoring it, but I was actually proven wrong. They actually did turn heel, so to my surprise.
Yeah, the Street Profits were supposed to challenge Motor City Machine Guns for the tag titles, but then they were found mysteriously attacked before the match. Yo, these mystery attacks have been happening a lot lately.
Yeah,
Yo,
I
shit.
just feel
Yeah,
bad for
W.
Street. I don't know, man. Like, so yeah, DIY are the new tag team champions, but I hope that moving forward, because after what happened to the Street Profits, now they could like be pushed into that title picture now to feud with them.
Yeah, I think that'll be the eventual destination. But after that all happened, like Johnny Gargano was like saying, "Oh, we'll take their place. We'll take their place." And
Mm,
Tommaso Ciampa's been getting on his case lately about like not having enough of a mean streak and being too nice. And even like during the match, he was getting on his case too. But it was like all a ruse all along to trick Motor City Machine Guns, and that eventually led to them winning the match and the titles. And they perfectly pulled this off well, where they like made everybody think that they were beefing, made everybody think that Tommaso Ciampa was mad at him, but it was all a
mm,
setup.
all a ruse.
It's great though. Like now they're actually like taking the tag division at least on SmackDown more seriously. So at least it'll
Yeah,
give us something to dive our teeth into more going forward.
true. I like I like I honestly like the tag division better on SmackDown more than Raw.
Yeah, obviously, because Finn Balor and JD McDonough haven't defended those belts in months. They've defended those belts, what, maybe twice since they won them, and they won those titles in June.
Yeah, they got a little. Yeah, I think they need to push a little bit harder on it on that division on Raw. So
Yes, and they actually will be defending those titles against the War Raiders this Monday on Raw, and Judgment Day is banned from ringside.
ooh,
Good. About damn time. So they're losing those
right.
belts. They are losing those belts.
Hope so.
Yes, but let's get into our predictions for Saturday night's main event real fast, taking place this Saturday from the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, the site of the original Saturday night's main event in May of 1985. And let's break down this card for you real fast. So, in a match that was added last night, we do have Sami Zayn taking on Drew McIntyre. Who you got?
Ooh. Drew McIntyre's first match since Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. Um, I have Drew McIntyre winning this match.
Um, I think he either wins or it's a disqualification to continue the feud because I feel
Probably,
like this
yeah,
feud just started. So I feel
yeah.
like it's going to be like some kind of finish where there's no clear cut winner and the feud's going to extend longer.
Okay, I can see that.
All right. So for the women's world title, we have Liv Morgan defending against Io Sky.
Ooh, after what happened this past Monday night on Raw with that ending between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, I really think Rhea Ripley is going to interfere. It's going to probably cause a disqualification. So there's really not going to be a clear cut winner.
Yeah, that could happen. I think either way, regardless, I think Liv retains.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Liv's not going to drop the belt, especially with Rhea chasing after her still. So, but it just what happened on Raw. Rhea Ripley's going to make an appearance regardless. So,
It'll be a fun match. I'm sure Rio will get a crazy reaction being out here in New York. Yeah,
yeah.
I can't wait. The Nassau Coliseum is usually always a good vibe.
Oh yeah,
Past shows I've
always.
seen.
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah, I'll never forget that first time I went there in '98 and seeing all those New York Islander banners up in the ceiling.
Mm.
Madness. All right, so either way, we have Liv Morgan retaining, no surprise. Also, what we're gonna get at Saturday night's main event is the finals of the women's U.S. title tournament. As the final four are Bailey, Chelsea Green, who will be facing each other on SmackDown in the semifinals match, and
Mm.
also Mi Chin and Tiffany Stratton, who will face each other in the other semifinal match on Friday. So, who
Mm.
do you think goes to the finals, and who do you think wins the title overall?
I've been so high on Chelsea Green. Um, so Chelsea Green is facing Bailey, correct?
Yes, she is. Yes.
Okay. I have Chelsea Green winning. Um, I wanted, man, I want to say Tiffany Stratton, but I feel like, she doesn't need it
No.
because she has that Money to Bank contract.
I'm honestly surprised she advanced in the first place. She had that triple threat on SmackDown,
Yeah,
and I know it was in her hometown of Minnesota, and she got a great reaction. But yeah, I
yeah.
was kind of surprised that Naomi didn't win.
Hmm. She was she was at the Vikings game that day, this past Sunday.
Oh, she was. It was Tiffy time at the Vikings game.
Yeah, she was at the Vikings game. Yeah,
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
um,
But
definitely.
considering that Naomi, but
I
considering that
overall, I'm sorry. Overall, I have Chelsea Green winning.
the title,
Yeah.
yeah, I could see it coming down to her and Mi Chin, like a rematch from their dumpster match a few months ago, and then Chelsea Green gets her revenge and wins the U.S. title.
Okay.
I could see it going down that way. I think it's either the two of them in the finals. More than likely, I'll go with that pick. If not, it'll probably be Bailey and Tiffany Stratton in the finals, and I think Bailey would win if it comes down that way.
Hmm. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Bailey. I'll be happy for her, but I felt like after, I mean, her recent title reign from this year was a little bit off. And I'm not saying it was her fault or anything like that, but I just feel like you got to give the opportunity to somebody new. So in a Chelsea Green, especially after that dumpster match, that's why I was like, me and you and a lot of other people were high on her. So we'll see what happens, but I have her winning though.
Yeah, the way it's looking now with the final four, now that Naomi's out, I think Chelsea Green wins.
Okay.
But considering that Naomi lost and the look on her face when Bianca was being asked by Byron Saxton about the whole Jade Cargill attack and Naomi's expression on her face, I think there's a strong chance it might have been Naomi who was behind it.
Hmm.
And I just saw today that Bianca and Jade were ranked the number one tag team of the whole year.
Really?
Yeah, not just like women's tag teams, but tag teams, period. Interesting. I like their tag team a lot. I've loved how they play off of each other, the matching outfits, the handshake they do, and all that jazz. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
really enjoyed their tag team a lot more than I expected to going into it.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
All right, but moving on with the rest of the card for the World Heavyweight Championship in a triple threat match, we have Gunther defending against Damian Priest and Finn Balor.
Gunther's definitely winning it without a doubt.
Yeah, in all honesty, back in the days, like in the '80s, the WWE title never really changed hands on Saturday night's main event. That
Yeah.
main event special, that main event special, like where they did the screw job with Andre and Hogan with the double referees, that technically wasn't Saturday night's main event, so that doesn't count. So
Okay.
I don't see a title change happening at this Saturday night's main event either. So Gunther
I think
retains.
you're talking about like more of like the retro things. I think the one that I watched during my time when I was growing up, I think the one title match that pissed me off the ending where like, damn it, this happened was the title match between John Cena and Edge. If you remember that, I think it was like July of '06.
Oh, that
Oh,
show.
that ending pissed me off. Man, I really thought Cena was gonna win the title that night though, but no. Oh my god, I was so pissed.
Oh yeah, that was the
Oh
same.
man.
That was the same Saturday night's main event where Hogan got attacked by Randy Orton.
Yeah. He got RKO'd on the car.
Car.
That's right. Yep. Wow.
Yeah, after Randy Orton tried to hit on his daughter.
Yep. Man. I ain't gonna lie, those two episodes, Saturday Night's Main Event that year, the one they had in February and July, those were good episodes.
Yeah, they were cool. I mean, I only watched the one in March before WrestleMania, but I
Yeah.
remember liking it.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it. It's really
Yeah,
fun.
but I think it's gonna be a fun match. But I think Gunther retains. I don't
Oh,
see
of
him
course.
losing the
Of
title
course.
here.
Oh no. Of course not. Of course not.
And last but not least, for the WWE Championship, we have Cody Rhodes defending his title against Kevin Owens.
So first, okay, it's Saturday night's main event, NBC. Um, you want to have a good ending. Cody Rhodes is winning,
I
unless I mean I don't know, maybe a disqualification because look, last time these two faced each other, Cody Rhodes won fair and square. Um, I don't know. I may never. Randy, we never we forgot about Randy Orton because you got to remember Kevin Owens took him out. You may never know. Orton may show up and interfere.
That could happen. But the thing with me is that Kevin Owens like just started this whole change in his character
Yeah, it's
where he's been
not
like more
over.
menacing.
Oh no, it's definitely not over. Yeah, that's why I kind of went back to what I was saying. Against what I just said, I don't think Cody Rhodes will win. I think this match will end in disqualification.
Yeah, it's gonna be some kind of similar to the Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn situation. I think it's gonna be some kind of finish where there's like no clear cut winner and it extends the feud longer because I feel like this feud's going on way past Saturday. I don't think it ends there by any
Of
stretch.
course not, of course not. It's gonna get to the point where Orton's gonna get involved too, where it's gonna be the three of them. So
I've been hearing some weird predictions. Like some people kind of actually believe that there's a chance Kevin Owens could win. And also, when you really think about it, at the past Saturday night's main events, the title match was never really the match that went on last. It would usually be like the first or second match.
okay,
So who knows? Maybe they might do a crazy angle in that match and then it stretches out throughout the rest of the night. Yeah, something like that could happen too. But either way, I think Cody walks out with the title still, and the feud extends beyond this. So I do think it's either a disqualification or Cody like barely wins, like he kind of wins on a fluke, similar to how we beat Brock Lesnar at Backlash last year, and then
hmm
that, and maybe Kevin Owens attacks him afterwards and like lays him out, and
yeah,
he has to be like carried away.
okay.
One thing I did like was that talk in the car between Kevin Owens and Michael Cole on SmackDown. Yo, that was very well done.
Oh, that was crazy.
And also,
Oh,
Kevin Owens alluded in that talk between the two of them that he's going to be dealing with Sami Zayn at some point, considering that he teamed with Roman recently.
oof.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I know. Oh my god.
Yes, but that
You
is the
can I ask
sad.
you
Go ahead.
something? Can I ask you something? With what Seth has been saying, well, yeah, what Seth Rollins been saying, and kind of what Kevin Owens been saying, like it's one of those situations where it's like you kind of have to justify what the heel is saying or feeling because it's like, okay, you're a heel. I mean, not saying Seth Rollins is a heel yet, but it's like for Kevin Owens mostly, you kind of like somewhat justify what he's saying. What he's saying is true, even though he's a heel. We've seen this before in wrestling and also entertainment in general. You know what I mean? Because you got to think about look what happened in the past. And another question I wanted to ask you is this: is that do you feel like Roman is kind of like what if Roman is doing all of this just to get back onto the top? What if do you see him turning heel again? Like he's doing all of this right now. Oh, I need your guys' help. I need it, and he's just doing this like to I'm just doing this to get back onto the top like how I was before.
It's possible, but I feel like they just turned him good like just a few
Yeah,
months ago. So I
yeah,
don't
I
see
know.
him going back to being a heel so soon.
Yeah,
But you are right about one thing. Most heels, like whether it comes to wrestling or even comes to movies, a lot of them have like a reason why they turn to the dark side, and some of those reasons
it's justified. It's like
are exactly
what, yeah, like what you're saying is kind of like, oh, you got a point. You got a point. I see what you're
like
saying.
one movie example I'll give, even though the sequel fucking sucked from what everybody said, was Joker. Like you saw what happened to the character throughout the movie, and then he finally snaps at the end. Like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
what he does at the end of the movie's fucked up, but what happens to him throughout the movie that leads to that is also
mhm,
fucked up.
yeah, yeah. You're right about that. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, bees like that. And I was also right about the sequel sucking from what everyone said.
I, don't, I still don't want to see it.
I'm
My
good. I'm good.
Samantha wants to see it because we were watching TV and apparently I think it's gonna be streaming this Friday. So and I was like, you sure you want to see this? I was like, all right,
Nah.
okay.
Only way I watch that movie with the girls if we're able to make out for most of it.
Oh god. There's still a couple of movies I got to see for the holidays. I still got to watch Moana 2 and Wicked. So
I actually went to go see Interstellar at an IMAX theater last night. They brought back Interstellar for theaters for like the 10-year anniversary. And yeah, I went to go see it last
Oh,
night in IMAX. Yo, shit
okay.
was crazy, man. Like movies
Wow.
like that, like any Christopher Nolan movie is meant to see in IMAX.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right, but without further ado, let's get into our wrestling review rewind for this month. As
Are
this
you
month we
ready
take you
to
back.
hop into that DeLorean?
Yes, I'm ready to hop into that DeLorean.
Let's go.
Yeah, and I promise you, we're way better drivers than Doc from Back to the Future.
How?
That dude probably didn't get his driver's license. He's probably driving with a suspended license.
I mean,
I don't know.
he
I'm
knew
just
where
talking
it was
shit.
going. Yeah. All right. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, back in December 2000. And just like the last episode, I'm going to ask you about what were you doing and where were you? So in December of 2000, Kurt, where were you? How old were you? And, what were you doing?
I was 14 years old at the time. I was in the eighth grade.
Mm.
My mother had just moved my brother and I out of our grandma's house into our own home, like earlier that year, like right after WrestleMania. So we were living there at the time. And it's funny enough, this was the first pay per view I was able to watch live in 6 months because we lost our cable like right around fully loaded time, and we
Mm.
didn't get it back until like right after Survivor Series. So this is like the first pay per view I was gonna get to watch live since King of the Ring, and yo, I was hyped. Even though on paper there was only really one match that was worth checking out, and one match I really wanted to see. I was just happy to be able to watch a pay per view live again after not being able to watch one for so long.
Were you still living in Florida at the time?
Yes, I was living in Davie, Florida. Yes, I
Okay.
was.
Okay. So I
Bit of an
had
adjustment. Also, a bit of an adjustment because I lived in my grandma's house for so long, for like pretty much all of the 90s. So moving to that neighborhood and moving to that new school, admittedly, so it was an adjustment because at my last school, most of the kids in my school were like either black, Hispanic, along those lines. And then when I went to the new school in Davie, I was one of the few black kids in the school. Like, yeah, it wasn't as many black kids or Spanish kids as I was used to. So that was an adjustment.
Oh wow, I bet I was different.
Yeah, it
So I had
was
I at that time I literally had just made a adjustment too. So I had how old was I? I had just turned 9.
9.
I had just turned 9 and we were living in San Diego. We had just moved to San Diego um October of that year. So,
Okay.
I've just been it's just we were just there for, just about a couple of months in San Diego, and it was different, because prior to that I was living in Hawaii. But December of 2000, I think one memory that really just hits me the most was that um I was there for Christmas, visiting my mom's side of the family for Christmas in Vegas. It's funny. I remember that very well. I remember in December of that month, I my dad had took me to my very first hockey game live
Oh,
in
cool.
San Diego. I think it was December. Maybe I think it was December, but I remember it was particularly that year. But yeah, I just turned 9 years old, and um, yeah, and again, just just kid, just enjoy my childhood and all that, and man, just things stuff was so much different back then. And as I wrote a lot of stuff down or some notes and a lot of interesting things that happened. So December 5th, there was a Billboard Music Awards. I don't know if do they still have that going on now?
They probably do. They have so many of those damn award shows these days. I lost count.
Yeah, but Billboard was probably one of the most, like one of the biggest ones, popular ones or whatever though. But like, Destiny's Child, the Dixie Chicks, NSYNC, Faith Hill won a bunch, a lot of awards that night, which is no surprise. They're the most popular artists around that time. We're in a new millennium, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Eminem, Eminem probably won a lot of awards too because he was white hot during that time. White
I
hot.
bet. Yeah,
Ooh.
I
This is
bet.
actually funny you mentioned the Billboard Awards. I remember around this time one song from Eminem that was out. That's probably one of his best songs ever. Is "Stan."
Yeah, that's one of his
Oh man,
you could say it
incredible
was one of
song.
his most first popular ones, yeah.
one of his like real first like serious songs that like blew up and caught on because
Yeah,
before that like he was like mainly known as far as like his singles for, like the wacky shit like the real Slim Shady, My Name Is, Guilty Conscience, but The Way I Am being one example, and also Stan being an even better example that like showed you that he had a lot more to offer than just that.
yeah. So since we're talking about music, I'm going to ask you this: what do you think was like the number one song at that time in December of 2000?
It's funny. Speaking of Destiny's Child, because you mentioned them a second ago, the number one song from that time frame was Destiny's Child's "Independent Women" from the
Yeah,
Charlie's Angels movie.
yeah. I haven't watched that movie in forever.
I'm gonna be
Man,
honest. I tried watching that movie a few years ago because I'd never seen it. I
yeah.
tried watching it a few years ago on Netflix, and it was so bad I turned it off within the first half an hour.
Damn.
Yeah, it was that bad. I'm sorry to say, but
Wow. I mean, look, I haven't watched it in forever, so maybe if I watch it again, maybe I'll feel differently about that. But I watched it growing up, and I liked it. It
yeah,
was
I remember it was really popular like back then when it came out. Everybody used to do the pose and everything and all that.
yeah,
And the song was hot. Like honestly, the song's good. The Independent Women song's good, but
yeah.
I think that's one of those occasions where the song was actually better than the movie. Another example being the Gangster's Paradise song from Dangerous Minds from Coolio.
Oh, so
Also
huh?
Regulate from Warren G and Nate Dogg from Above the Rim. That's another example.
Oh, okay. So I'm quite sure you remember this. You're probably old enough to know this though, but you're familiar about the presidential race between George W. Bush and Al Gore, right?
Of course I am. They had us like do a assignment for our social studies class back then. I remember that
So
very well.
all right, so December 12th, they said how okay, so December 12th, sorry, lost my words. So the U.S. Supreme Court released its 5-4 decision in Bush versus Gore, settling a recount dispute in Florida. The 2000 election in Bush for Bush's favor, handed him the presidency over Al Gore. So, so a lot of people who are young who don't know. So Florida is one of those states that kind of like they have that last advantage on who's going to win that presidency. I think winning Florida makes a big difference. So
How about
apparently,
Pennsylvania?
either that or Pennsylvania. So apparently, all the votes came in, but not Florida yet, and they're still trying to figure that out. It was just a weird thing.
I think if I remember correctly, Al Gore initially won Florida, and then it
Mm.
got rescinded. They said they made a mistake, and then like
Oh
it went all the way to the next morning, like the morning after election day, and there was still no winner. Then the day after that, the day after that, and here we are, like already over a month later, and there was still no resolution.
oh God,
Holy shit!
man! And you're in that state, damn, man.
Yep, I was living there at the time. I
The
think this
hell?
election, I think this election was like the first instance of like really showing how much of a joke the election can be, and it's gradually gotten worse since then. If you
I mean,
see where we're
look,
dealing with now,
I don't think, like, look, I don't, I mean, because look, I was only what 8, going 9
9.
at the time, right? But look, I don't really. It was just like a mistake that they made on when it came to the voting part. I didn't see anything like a joke where like, oh, two candidates are like or a joke, not compared to earlier this year. You know what I mean?
I remember Bush was very, very despised during that time. Like just from seeing
Oh,
the campaign ads, even hearing some kids in school who were like also in 8th grade talking about him. I guess from like
really?
hearing stuff from their parents. Yeah, and
Oh,
even my mother was very vocal about not liking Bush.
oof,
Yeah, that was kind of my first instances of people not liking him, and obviously it got worse as his presidency went along. So yeah,
yeah.
like I feel like that election was like my first real glimpses of like people like really not liking a particular candidate where I was like old enough to like really see it.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting. So are you familiar? Do you heard anything about the Texas Seven? Does that ring a bell to you?
It sounds familiar, but please re-enlighten me.
Yeah, so I just found this out too though because I didn't know this. You know what I mean? So the Texas Seven is pretty much were seven inmates at a Texas prison. So these seven people escaped from a John Canale unit near Kennedy, Texas, later going on a crime spree and killing a police officer named Aubrey Hawkins.
Yeah, I don't know. That story doesn't ring a bell for some
Yeah.
reason. I'm not sure why.
They eventually got caught though, but it was something that popped up, and I was like, "Oh, I never knew about this or whatever though." But kind of it was a it was a weird thing though. Now I know this right here, and I think I remember because I'm a big hockey fan. So December 27th, so Pittsburgh Penguins star Mario Lemieux returned to the NHL after 3 years after dealing with injuries and most importantly, cancer issues. So he had, any of my hockey fans out there who know who Mario Lemieux is, he's one of the all-time greats in hockey and also Pittsburgh Penguins history, winning 2 Stanley Cups. He had to, take some time off from the ice, and he finally made his return December 27th. That day, he even scored a couple of goals and won the game. But what the cool thing about that is, like, when you're dealing with health issues, you probably don't know, how much time you have left, or your sports career is over. But the cool thing about that was he was able to overcome that and play the sport that he loves. So that was a very um, to hear something like that is is a very cool thing. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. Let's see, film. So it's funny,
Oh,
because in
I
our
can't wait
last
for this.
episode, yeah, in our last episode, we all know. So we covered. We're in November, right? November, outside the summer, the holidays are always, they always bring out good movies, whether it's November or December. Mostly holiday movies or action movie or whatever. They always have their share of good movies. December 2000, this blew me away. I didn't realize all these movies came out within a month, and most of these movies pretty much all these movies I knew. Some of them I've seen, and some of them I haven't, I believe. So the number one movie, once again, is another Mel Gibson movie, What Women Want. That's great. Have you ever watched that movie?
Actually, oh yeah, I have. It's great. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
But it's funny, no. Actually, the number one movie that weekend of that Armageddon, the number one movie, which is number one for almost a month, was Jim Carrey's The Grinch.
Okay, that's weird though. But they said, because I looked up, it was for that month. It was the number one movie though. I mean, The Grinch was like number
Yeah,
two or whatever.
What
But
Women Want came out like after Armageddon. It came out like the I think a week after.
okay, but hmm, I
But
think
anyway,
this.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, I know all these movies you should know. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the
I know
movies that came out.
Castaway. I know Castaway came
Castaway.
out that month too.
Yeah, that's. I have to say, if I had to like top three Tom Hanks movies, that's on my top three.
Yeah, that's funny. Helen Hunt was in Castaway and What Women Want. She had both of those movies come out in the same month.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yo, I kind of had a crush on her back then. I remember. Yeah,
You did?
yeah, I did. Especially in that movie and What Women Want. She looked good. Also,
Okay.
Marissa Tomei looked great too.
Hmm. So, um, you ever seen the movie Traffic? That came out in December
Oh
2000.
shit, that's right. That's right. Traffic did come out around that time.
Yeah,
Traffic is crazy.
I
Great
heard.
cast too. Great
Yeah, I heard.
cast.
All star cast. Yeah.
Oh, Michael Douglas, Benicio del Toro,
Hmm.
Don Cheadle's in it.
Isn't Catherine Zeta-Jones in that movie? No.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah, she was.
Okay.
Yeah, good ass movie. Go check it out
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
Honestly,
Um,
that's the best movie that you mentioned out of all the ones we talked about. That's by far the
yeah,
best one.
I agree that I'll put that with along with Castaway. Yeah.
Although my favorite movie from 2000, I have to say, is Aaron Brockovich.
All right, my favorite. You
I know
know
what
what
you're
my
gonna
favorite
say.
is. Exactly.
Gladiator.
Thank
Fair
you.
enough.
Yes. This movie, I don't know. I mean, it's really nothing to talk about. You
I know
probably
what
never
you're gonna
seen it.
say.
I
I know what
seen
you're gonna
it.
say.
I seen it on TV. It was a bit weird. I was like, what? It was Dracula 2000.
Oh shit! Never mind. I got it wrong.
I
I
don't know
thought
if
you were
you
gonna
ever
say
what
nah. I thought you were gonna say, "Dude, where's my car?" from Ashton Kutcher.
that came out that month too. Though I saw
I
bits
remember
and
he was on
pieces of it.
SmackDown. Yeah, I remember he was on SmackDown promoting it.
Yeah, he was. That was funny though. But like, I'm not too big on like the stoner movies though. That's just like, I don't know.
Better than
Like,
others. Some are better than others. And also,
yeah,
you're not a stoner. That's why.
I I know though. But it was just like I saw. It's like, what? I never seen the movie, but I already knew what it was about. I was like, this dude probably got stoned and he lost his car and he probably, you know what I mean? Is that what it was
I,
about?
I never saw it. I don't know. It looked
Oh.
dumb to me. Like the stoner movies, like the stoner movies I like are like Friday and How High. Those are more my cup of tea.
Harold and Kumar go to White Castle.
That one's cool. Yeah, that one's cool too.
My dad was trying to get me to watch that movie years ago. Apparently, because of one of his buddies at work were watching it on their break, and he kept telling them about it. And he told me about it. I was like, "All right, fine, I'll watch it." And I finally watched it. And I was like, "What the hell? What?"
Yeah, look, it's a stupid title on paper. It looks dumb on paper, but
Yeah,
when you watch the movie, it's fun.
yeah. What's another movie? You ever watch Miss Congeniality with Sandra Bullock?
Miscon
Congenial.
Miscongeniality? No,
Yeah.
no, I never saw it. Never saw it.
Okay. I
I
think
know it, but I never saw
some
it.
pieces of it. It looked okay, whatever though. But that movie came out in December. But I think out of all the movies that I think really hits home for me as a kid growing up that came out that month. I don't know if you ever seen this movie though, but you ever watched The Emperor's New Groove?
No, I never saw it.
Oh, you need to watch that movie. If you have Disney Plus, go watch it.
Yeah, because
It's
kind of like
funny.
by that point, I felt like I was getting too old to watch at least the
I
newer
know you were
animated
for.
ones.
Yeah, I mean you were getting older at the time, but like me, I was only 9 at the time, so like I that movie is freaking funny.
But I remember at the
It's
time, like,
funny.
but I remember like at that time, like some of the songs that were hot that were out were obviously independent women from Destiny's Child. Certain lyrics from that song, probably a lot of women wouldn't be down with today, but
Mm,
that's their prerogative.
mm.
Like the part where like Beyonce says it's always 50-50 in relationships. Yeah, a lot of women wouldn't have a problem with that today.
Oh yeah, never even caught
Yeah,
on to
but
that.
yeah, but
Uh,
that's another story for another time. But I
yeah.
respect the message from it. It was a good song. Also, Miss Jackson from Outkast was also hot during that time.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Stan from Eminem, I just mentioned a few minutes ago.
Right.
Also, Ludacris's first album came out around this time too, with like "What's Your Fantasy" and "Use a Hoe" and "Southern Hospitality." Yeah,
Yeah.
"Use a Hoe" probably wouldn't get played too much these days. I get it.
I think my girlfriend Samantha that played that song like multiple times since I've been with her. So
Maybe
um
she played it after she beat you like in a pool game or something.
no.
All
But let's
right.
see. Oh, it's one more thing. One more thing. So I actually wanted to get into the video games real quick. Guess what was the number one video game in December?
What was the number one video game?
Did you even play video games growing up?
Moderately, but not religiously.
Oh, okay. Um, I actually have this game still, and yeah, I was actually. Oh my god, this is like I was part of that demographic. I actually bought the damn game. I'm responsible of this though, but Pokemon Gold and Silver version for the Game Boy Color was the number one selling video game in December of 2000. I
Makes
actually
sense.
I had the gold version of it. So yeah,
Yeah, I remember.
yeah.
Yeah, Pokemon was white hot at that time,
Oh
especially in
hell,
'99. Yeah, I didn't even fuck with Pokemon like that, but I just remember how
I
popular it was
did.
back then.
Oh my god, I did. I like legit like you had to like bro like bringing Pokemon cards to school was like it was like you were making deals with everybody because people wanted to trade with you, especially if you had a certain card. Yeah, like that was like a big thing. That was like a big part of my childhood. You know what I mean? So,
I hear
um,
that.
yeah. But watch Emperor's New Groove. Damn it, you have Disney Plus.
I don't, but I've been thinking about getting it back. So when I do get
You
it back, I'll check it out.
you should, man. Like that. I oh my god. Like I don't know. I'm still a kid at heart. If there's a certain Disney movie that I like, okay, I want to watch it. I'll watch it. Like Moana 2, I want to watch it.
Yeah,
You
who
know?
cares? Yeah, at this point in our lives, who
Hell
cares? Like,
yeah,
if you like those movies, even if you are older, yeah, and if you
yeah.
enjoy them, have fun watching them, yo, go watch them.
Um,
And one more thing I
also,
actually wanted to get into before we dive into Armageddon 2000.
yeah.
It's funny, around this time, 5 days after this show, my grandfather died. The Friday after this
Oh
Armageddon.
no. Oh no,
I
man.
mean, fair. I mean, to be fair, I didn't have like that much of a relationship with him. I like
Yeah.
met him honestly, literally only 3 years before this. because he's my grandfather on my mom's side, and
Mm.
him and my grandmother have been broken up for years, and him and my mother didn't have any kind of relationship. So I didn't meet him until like one of my uncles like brought him around like 3 years before this and said, "Boys," referring to my brother and I, "say hello to your grandfather." And that was the first time I met him.
Oh
And he
wow.
was nice to us. Like the few times we would see him, like my dad would take us to go see him in New York because he lived in New York, so he would take us to go see him when we would come visit.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was nice to us, but I didn't really have much of a relationship with him. Like I wasn't close with him to that degree where like I was devastated by him dying. To be honest, his death was kind of surrounded by a lot of family drama because of, like I told you, my mother not having a relationship with him, and my mother didn't even want to go see him like on his deathbed before he died, which is a whole nother story.
Oh
So yeah, it
man.
was kind of like a yeah. So there was kind of like a lot of family tension and family drama like surrounding my life during this period.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
It happens. It is what it is. But just when you get older, you just learn how to, not become that kind of person. And also by expressing yourself, making raps to diss them, to diss those kind of people who maybe brought that drama into your life.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was doing like my run of like dissing asshole celebrities and also like dissing like toxic behavior. That's one thing
Mm.
I've learned with like writing raps and like doing music is that like even if you are pissed off and like things like that get you that heated, if you can express yourself in that area, it could be uncensored. You could be as mean, disrespectful as you want, but it's for the right cause and as a way of being productive as opposed to expressing yourself in a more negative way.
Let's see what you mean. Mm.
Yes, sir. That's why I
Got you.
diss Michael Jordan so hard.
I don't care. Well, I don't care. I'm still gonna rock your shoes off. I don't care. But anyway, so December 10th, 2000, WWF Armageddon, Birmingham, Alabama, in the Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center. That's crazy of all places. I mean, we look back at the other pay per views in the past, like like the in your house pay per views. Like usually they had it like in the most like unknown places. Like, oh, this pay per view was in what? But like, and crazy, they never had a pay per view in Alabama during that time. But this event was the first and only pay per view event in the state of Alabama. That's crazy.
Yeah, they never did one before that, and they haven't done one in Alabama since.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so, usually, historically, business is kind of a bit slow during this time of the year, especially December, because really not much to do. You want to prep for next year. You know what I mean? Going into January for the Royal Rumble, for new storylines, getting ready for WrestleMania. But with this slow month, this event did a strong number with their pay per view buys. Apparently, they did 465,000 buys. That's a
Ooh,
big number for a December pay per view.
and it's the biggest number for any December pay per view in WWE history.
Yeah, and you couldn't blame them with the main event that they had on their card, with everything else they had, but like the main event that was their huge attraction. You had
Oh yeah,
six of the top guys, six of the top guys in your business for the title in Hell in a Cell, and it's crazy how like you never would think that we're gonna put 6 men in Hell in a Cell. Like, look, if this type of match would have taken place like a couple years later or a few years later, let's be real, this match would have been an elimination chamber, would it
yeah,
not?
definitely. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. But at the time, they didn't think about that stuff like that. So hey, they just decided to do it Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, that's why I was so hyped for this show because I hadn't seen a pay per view in 6 months, and it was gonna be this crazy ass Hell in a Cell match with all six of the top guys. Austin's
Hmm.
back. You have Rock in there, Triple H, Angle, who's the champion, Undertaker, Rikishi. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it was really cool to like have this as like my reintroduction to like watching a pay per view again. And look, I said it a few minutes ago. This is really only a one match show, especially after going back to watching it yesterday. But damn, was that one match worth the price?
I bet it was, and it's funny because I was rewatching it too yesterday as well. Um, you could just like the whole vibe of the event was just circled on that match because like throughout. the event, they're showing highlight reels of the past Hell in a Cell matches.
And doing promos with everybody involved in the match. Like they
Yeah,
have Kurt Angle do a promo, they have Rikishi do a promo. The one that I really liked was the one with the Undertaker, where they interviewed him like earlier in the day, where like they're
yeah,
still putting the Hell in a Cell together and the arena's empty, and he's
yeah.
talking about like what he did to Shawn in the match, what he did to Mankind in the match, and he's like
Hmm.
just like really describing it, saying like the scariest part about this side of me when I'm in Hell in a Cell is that I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some creepy shit.
And two things. So it's kind of funny how this whole buildup started. In case some of our listeners don't know, it goes back to all the chaos that's been going on for the past months. Going back with Austin getting hit with the car. You go back to the month prior at Survivor Series where Stone Cold Steve Austin literally had Triple H up in that on the forklift up in a car and literally just tilted the car and had the car fell down. Had
And
all
then
this
Triple H was back. And then Triple
huh?
H was back 1 week later.
Yeah, and I was just like, "What the? You
Yeah, that
literally
was
were in the
weird.
car and you fell while you're in the car and you come back a week later." And it's funny how I remember because I watched all the 2000 episodes like a year ago, right? So I was watching every episode what happened, right? And I remember after Armageddon, Triple H was gone for a while after this night.
Yeah, he
he
was gone
wouldn't
for like a
show up
month.
again. Yeah, he wouldn't show up again until like January. So it's funny how like you said how what happened to him at Survivor Series and he comes back a week later, but then yeah, Hell in a Cell, he's gone for a whole month. That was just like super weird to me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Although the product was still great, like in that latter part of 2000, you could tell like it was starting to cool off compared to like the earlier part of the year,
Oh yeah,
especially with
because
some of the.
like WCW was just falling off the roof, man. They were literally falling off. They were at that point where they were like selling. You know what I mean?
Nah, but
So
nah, but I'm saying like WWE was starting to cool off during this time too. Like after SummerSlam, I would say they were starting to like fall off just a little bit with their storylines. It was still
oh
good, but you could like tell like there was a small little decline compared to the start of the year, the middle of the year.
oh yeah.
Like
Yeah. I
yeah,
when I
like
look
that being
back
one example, like that being one example where Triple H gets dropped from the forklift and he's back a week later. Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
right. I mean when I look back at that year, I have to say, man, what was my favorite part of that year? I could say like the middle part of 2000 a little bit. That kind of
Um,
early middle, maybe like I say that springtime going into the summer.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
like backlash time especially, yo, it was white hot.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, like and also the summer with like fully loaded in SummerSlam, it was also really good during that time too.
yeah,
So yeah, I would say yeah, the beginning and the middle were definitely top notch.
yeah. And it's funny with all that chaos going on, with the build up to the match of all people. It's funny how Vince McMahon comes back and he's against it because he's trying to protect his investments, trying to protect his wrestlers. He doesn't want to see anybody get hurt. But we forget that Mick Foley was the commissioner at the time. Was like no, this match is still going to happen.
Yeah, you want to protect the wrestlers and protect your investment, but yet you had them work like 7 days a week, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday. They never get to go home. They never get to be home for the holidays. Oh, but now you care. Now you care.
And it was funny. I remember it was it on Raw? Was it on SmackDown where he literally no, it was on Raw. He literally was like going to everybody, was trying mainly the baby faces. He was going to Taker,
Yeah,
Austin, and Rock, and trying to plead with like, don't do this match. Don't think about your health and think about your future and all that. It's like you gotta
I
be
want to protect
kidding
my
me.
investment. I want to protect my investment. And then Austin stuns him, and then Rock hits him with a rock bottom. Then Undertaker hits him with a last ride. And then
Yeah.
Mick Foley talks to him with Mr. Sacco saying, "Kiss my ass, Vince, and have a nice day."
I mean, just throughout the event, you know, even Vince is like, I'm gonna. I'm not going to let this match happen, which we'll get into later. Because like one of the funniest parts, that whole match was just super chaotic. Um,
Supposed to be.
yeah, it is though. But I've like to that extreme. Oh man, Ooh. Um,
Yeah, but
this
that was the
one,
thing. But that was the thing. Throughout the whole night, all they were building around was the main event. Like throughout the whole night,
yeah,
they were showing those promos. They were showing those like flashbacks of like the past Hell in a Cell matches. The whole night, all they talked about was the main event. Everything else that was on that show was all filler.
I believe so. There is one thing. There's a couple things I want to get into. Just one of the matches. It was it was that tag team match, the 6 man tag team match that started the night.
Well, 6-person tag team match because
Six
they went
person,
all men.
sorry, because Lita was involved. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
six
And I'm talking
person.
about the Hardy Boys and Lita versus the Radicals, the team of Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, that whole storyline with Lita and Dean Malenko was
That's
mad weird. Where
that's what
like
I
Dean
wanted to
Malenko was
talk
trying
to
to
you.
get with her.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about because I was like, yeah, that was just like I remember that because like, dude, Dean Malenko was trying to hit on Lita, and
Mac it to Lita.
yeah, it was weird. And when I look back at the Radicals, look, I kind of feel bad for half of them because it's like these were people that were so good in WCW and ring work wise, super good. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko especially. My God, Dean Malenko was just
He was a
absolute.
beast.
He was a
He was a
killer.
beast.
He was a killer. I love his gimmick. I love that cold stone seriousness of Dean Malenko. No, he just I love that, but like get to the WWE, it's a different ball game. It's completely different from WCW. You know what I mean? So
I think when they first came in those first few months, like Saturn and Malenko, they were doing fine. But then
yeah,
once they split them up, like when Benoit was IC champion, and then Eddie Guerrero started working with China, like
yeah,
Malenko and also Saturn, but more so Malenko, they kind of got pushed to the wayside.
yeah,
But
yeah,
like this was kind of like trying to give him something to do, like with this storyline. I guess they were trying to like have him in something. I mean, it was
yeah.
a little weird, it was a little off, but whatever. At least it was something for him to do. At least he's getting a pay per view match out of it.
But you could
But
just tell that just like, nah, this isn't working.
yeah,
And
it's like it doesn't feel natural. Like it doesn't feel like like something that fits for him. Like it's like
no,
not
of course not,
him.
because
Yeah, it's not
this is
him.
stuff, right? Because this is stuff that, like, okay, he wasn't doing this in WCW. Like, you didn't have to like do this. You could literally like, bro, Dean Malenko had so many good feuds in WCW. You know what I mean? And like, you see him doing this, it was like, oh man, you know what I mean? But you could just tell from the jump from that group, Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit were like, okay, these are your guys for the future moving
And
forward.
they were.
Yeah, they were. So,
Yeah,
um,
but the Hardys and Lita were white hot at the time. And this would eventually lead to like Matt Hardy and Lita, like confirming their relationship on screen. Like at the end of this whole storyline, Matt
oh,
Hardy and Lita ended up getting together.
yeah, I remember that. Yep. Yeah. And, trying to like, and I think, like I said, because the rest of the match was just filler ins. I think one match that kind of just caught my eye. I know the build up was just super silly, and this goes back a month ago from Survivor Series. It was between Chris Jericho and Kane over coffee, which I don't know who the hell came up with that storyline because we're gonna put these two
That's what
guys
I
together
mean. That's
because
what I mean.
Chris
That
Jericho accidentally spilled coffee on Kane, and it led to a last man standing match.
but that's what I mean with some of their storylines, like towards that latter part of 2000. This being
Yeah,
another example, like they started to
yeah,
become a little ridiculous.
I know. And like I said, business is like usually slow during this time, you know what I mean? And they'll pick right back up the month later. You know what I mean? So um
Bro, this show, this Armageddon, did a better buy rate than Survivor Series did the month before. In
yeah,
fact,
yeah.
Survivor Series that year was the lowest bought pay per view of the whole year.
Wow. Huh. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like towards this part of 2000, like they were starting to cool off a little bit. Even with
Hmm.
this hot main event for this show, as great as it was to watch and as excited as you were for it, like I said,
Hmm.
everything else, like specifically on this show, was nothing to write home about.
Yeah, just filler ins. Like when I go back to the Kane and Chris Jericho and Kane match, you know what I mean? Yeah, it was a last man standing. Yeah, the storyline
Honestly,
was weird, but that ending though, you had to appreciate the ending. I love the ending,
yeah, it was good when he dropped all the barrels on top of Kane and he couldn't get up
and
for the
it's
10 count.
and
Yeah,
you
it was
look
great.
closely, his hand is reaching out. I was, oh my god, you know what I mean? So that was a crazy sequence.
Maybe he was putting his hand up for some more coffee.
Right. Right. Yep. Yeah, he was asking for some more sugar.
Yeah, but easily one of the worst but easily one of the worst last man standing matches I've ever seen personally.
Just like you said, it was filler ins, and I think one match that was like okay was the four corner tag team match for the tag team titles. You had Right to Censor, Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, and you had Road Dogg and K Quick, or our Truth, though, but he was known as K Quick at the time. At that time, what do you thought about K Quick at the time?
I thought K Quick was dope. I thought he was great in the ring. He was very impressive. But
Mm-hmm.
it's so funny, like him and Road Dogg started this team where they were like both rapping, wearing the overalls and everything. And it only
Yeah.
lasted a month because actually this would be Road Dogg's last pay-per-view appearance for WWE until 2012 because he would actually get fired 1 week after the show.
Oh, due to what
Yeah,
though?
drugs.
Oh, yeah, man. It
Yeah, it's too
it
bad,
was
man.
it was it is yeah, it sucks, but it was a weird pairing though because we're usually used to Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was yeah. It was just weird. It was just like oh, I mean, we're used to him and Billy Gunn though, but I like K Quick though. He was a different guy, get different cat, very good in the ring. You know what I mean? So, but overall, the I like the tag team match. I liked it.
It was fine. Yeah, Edge and Christian got the belts back
Yeah, I liked
after
it.
their Los Conquistadors stunt from a few months back didn't work
Oh
out the way they hoped.
God, I remember. I remember that.
Oh man.
That whole thing was so silly. They literally stretched that storyline out for like a good minute. They
Yeah, they
stretched that
did.
out, man.
But whatever, they got the belts back here.
Yeah.
Also, Chris Benoit won back the IC title from Billy Gunn.
The
Yeah, I
one
kind of
Billy
felt
Gunn.
yeah that shit, which I don't want to too deeply into.
I liked his theme song.
Yeah, it was fine, but
I liked it.
the one thing I will say, it was cool that Benoit got the belt back because I felt that like after he lost the IC title, like earlier that year, the belt kind of like wasn't on the same level, and it was kind of like being moved around from person to person. Like
Hot potato.
Rikishi had it, then Val Venus had it, then
Yeah.
China had it for like a week, then Eddie
Hmm.
Guerrero had it, then Billy Gunn. Yeah, it was all over the place.
Hot potato.
And this would lead to the Benoit and Jericho ladder match the next month at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, like I said, man, like December's always a slow month, right? And then once you get into January, then you pick yourself back up, you build up again, and you're prepped because WrestleMania is literally around the corner. So you want to build things up and prep and make things, bigger. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
also, this would be China's last singles match with a man in WWE as she would go against
yeah,
Val Venus. I didn't really care for the match that much, but this would be the start of that whole angle with her and Ivory that would lead into WrestleMania
yeah, because she was
around this
feuding with
time.
the whole, yeah, she was feuding with the entire Right to Censor at the time. So yeah, I remember that, and
Yeah,
yeah,
The next night on Raw, they did the angle where they did the spike pile driver to her, and then she was gone for like a few weeks, and then she came back
hmm
at the Royal Rumble, and then she got hurt again, and then she finally
yeah,
came back at WrestleMania and won the title.
yep, I remember that.
Yeah, this is like China's like last real like feud and like last real major thing she was in.
Hmm. Mm.
Also, we had the William Regal and Hardcore Holly match. I think that match had potential, but the thing was they didn't really give them enough time.
I mean, it did. I felt like they wanted to put that match in because you got to remember Hardcore Holly's from Alabama.
Yeah, it made sense, and I like the promo that William Regal cut of the audience before the match.
I
It was
know.
pretty funny.
that he was literally telling me, like, look, you don't have to fall in love with your farm animals and all.
No,
Oh my,
no, he said, no, he said it's okay to love your animals, but loving your animals is very disgusting, and you should stop that right now.
right. He's probably talking
Yeah.
about washing your overalls once a week.
Mm.
Goes, oh, it's too funny. It
Yo,
was
Regal
just,
was great. Regal was
oh
great.
my god, he is. I love it, and he's just very underrated guy, very underrated person, and as far as the character and everything though, but it still puzzles me how, like, man, like, of all places they pick Alabama for a pay per view. That's just like, oh wow.
But one thing I did like though was the use of the song "Sweet Home Alabama" for the show. Although they've edited out of the Peacock version, I did like it initially when they used it at the time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's funny. It's funny. They the how could you forget about the opening intro for the event?
Oh shit, that's one of
We
the best
forgot
parts
to
of the
talk about
show.
that. Yeah, we man, I love
That
the End is Near song. I love it.
that was the first time they used it. Yeah, for that show, that opening package, like
Yeah,
showing the six of them, like showing like the destruction and all the like the
yeah.
chaos, like and all these like crazy parts of the world. Yo, that was the
I
perfect way to set up
I
for the main event.
I love it. I mean, in general, historically, I mean, Armageddon is really not like, oh, it's like, like a good like pay per view historically though. I mean, I think I have a favorite one. It was probably like '03 maybe, but I think one of the things I look forward to Armageddon was hearing that theme song. I love the End Is Near song. It was, I felt like that was the perfect pay per view name for the last month of the year. It's the end. They said that Armageddon is the last fight between good and evil. I love that aspect of it. I honestly would love, if they brought that pay per view name back, because I love the name. I love the name Armageddon. I love the whole set, what they did over the years, especially like, you know later on, like towards the end when they were done. You know what I mean? I loved it. I loved the whole destruction thing, and I loved how, especially for the main event, they'll play that in the promo package. I loved it.
Yeah, but it was never used any better than it was used here. When the show starts, you hear that song and you see that promo package they put together for it, you're
Hmm.
blown the fuck away. You're like, damn, I cannot wait for this match.
Yeah,
Woo.
it was serious. It was scary, man, because the Hell in a Cell, and it really was the end, and the end was near, and it truly was Armageddon, and it was the perfect place, the perfect name to have Hell in a Cell. So yeah, it truly was Armageddon in that match, and um, I damn it, I love Triple H's entrance when he came in the ring. I just like, he didn't have his Motorhead song yet at the time, but he had the beat.
The instrumental
I
for
The
My Time
instrumental,
Is
I
Now.
loved it. Loved it. He walked to the ring and just like, oh my god, you felt it. Like, that's one of the reasons why I love Triple H, um and also this will be the first time they'll use Limp Bizkit Rollin' song for the Undertaker.
Yeah, that was the first time they used it.
Yeah.
But one thing I also liked was Austin's promo before the match, where like he has like a beard, like you've never seen Austin with a beard, like being bald
Yeah,
before,
it was like a
and
little
he's
bit of a 5 o'clock shadow going on. Yeah.
talking about how he hadn't like slept all night, how he'd been drinking coffee all day, and he like just wanted to get the match started. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Austin was looking like he was in rough shape.
Hey, well, dude, he had a lot on his plate, man.
Yeah,
That
like Hell
guy,
in a Cell was
look,
stressing him out.
Austin. Not only that, dude, Austin was just out for revenge, man. Like, ever since he came back, he was looking for the guy who ran him over, and he finds the guy, and in the whole entire time, Triple H was that guy who set up the whole entire thing. Now he's going after Triple H. Now you have Hell in a Cell. After that, he wants to get back and become, the champion again. So he was just, dude was on a man possessed during that time.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. But it was just nice to have him back for like him being gone for like a
Oh yeah,
year. It
it,
was just
it,
great to have him back.
it was great having him back. Like it was good that The Rock filled in, and he did a damn good job on it because he had to. He had no choice. But that was the perfect guy to fill in while he was gone. But yeah, it
Also,
was great.
Triple H too. Also, it's
Yeah,
a
Triple
different
H.
vibe, but Triple H too.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, him too. He plays a part in it as well. You know, when I look at this match, I think now, I never thought about this back then though, but now, yesterday when I was watching that match, I felt like, to me personally, it made up for what happened last year at Survivor Series when originally we were supposed to get Triple H, Austin, and Rock and McMahon as a special guest referee. That never happened. And it's one of those matches where I was like, man, what if? It's those big what ifs in wrestling history if it happened. But we know why it didn't happen because of Austin's injury. But it made, to me, I felt like this match made up for it because we got literally six of the top guys in this business.
It made up for that. It also made up for Survivor Series the month before. Yeah, like I said, the rest of the show was whatever, but the main event, which is what we all came to watch for it, more than delivered.
And just right off from the bat, when Austin makes his way to the ring, he didn't even go to the ring. He literally went out. He attacked Kurt Angle because Kurt Angle didn't even walk inside the cell yet. Everybody else
Yeah.
was in the cell, and I love how that whole thing started. And literally everybody just going after everybody in the match. Things started to pick up. Surprisingly, Vince McMahon and the Stooges show up with a truck, and he's telling the construction worker to chain that door and pull the door down, which he did. And then he wanted to pull down the whole front cage down. He wanted to stop the match, and I was like, I was like, oh my god. Of
I'm
all
like, bro, even if you pull the cell apart, they're still gonna be fighting each other.
Right, like, what the hell do you want them to do? You think, oh, they're gonna stop fighting each other because you're gonna pull the cage down? But as soon as he's about to do that, thank God Mick Foley shows up. He attacks the Stooges, right? Then Vince is like, no, he's literally about to hit him with the cane, and you hear, Jerry the King Lawler's like, cane him. I was like, you gotta be kidding me right now. It's too funny. And then he has security to take him away. And I love that whole sequence. It was so funny how security's taking him away, and then Vince is all yelling like, I own this place, damn it. No, that was
Yeah, this is all.
it was just one of those things where I was like, I
Yeah,
needed a good laugh. It was funny in all that
yeah.
chaos.
I'll always maintain, like, regardless of what we feel about Vince these days and his bullshit, as a character on screen, he was one of the best.
He was, dude. It was so funny seeing that taking him away, and he's all yelling like, I own this place, damn it, don't do this to me. And I was like, wow. Ah,
Yo, but this would all eventually lead to like Mick Foley being dismissed as commissioner, as
later.
like he would get fired like a week after this. Yeah, when that
Yeah.
whole angle when like Vince asked Linda for the divorce, which happened actually to SmackDown before, and then she had
Yeah.
like the nervous breakdown and she was like unable to handle her
Ooh.
responsibilities. So like Vince had all control, and then he
Ooh.
fired Foley.
Yeah, all the setup. Oh my god, I was ooh. Oh man. But anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
just
was another
everybody's
thing. That was
huh?
another great part of 2000 that we lost towards the end of the year was Mick Foley as commissioner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that happens. Everybody's going just at it. The whole stuff that happens in Hell in a Cell. Ramming each other to the cage. That one part where Austin grabs Triple H and he's grinding him like through pretty much all over the cage inside the cell. It's crazy.
And then when
But
they fight outside of the cell, like
yeah,
Triple H
once
like
the
slams
door,
Austin. Yeah, Triple H like slammed Austin's face into like the car window,
yeah,
and then Triple
yeah,
H pedigree the Rock on top of a car.
yeah, he starts bleeding. And that part where
Everybody, everybody pretty much bled in this match except for one
except
person,
Rikishi,
which we'll get into the reason why he didn't bleed in a few minutes. But yeah,
yeah.
everybody was dropping blood in this match. Yeah, nobody was safe.
And then one of like if you look back at Kurt Angle's highlight reel, right? One of the things that they show a clip of Kurt Angle hitting the steel chair on Undertaker by the announce table.
Ooh,
Brutal.
Undertaker got him back though.
Oh yeah, he did. He did. He hit him. He hit Kurt Angle on top of the cell. And you know what's the crazy thing about that? If you look closely, Taker was yelling at one of the dudes. I think it was like the timekeeper or whatever to throw him the chair. And the dude had to throw the chair at Taker like a couple of times because the first couple of times the chair wasn't able to reach Undertaker, but he finally was able to grab it.
Yeah, I like that shot though when Undertaker hits him with the chair. How they filmed it, yo, it was dope.
Yeah. Oh
And then
man.
like Rikishi was also on top of the cell, so him and Undertaker start fighting on top of the cell. And then Undertaker proceeds to choke slam Rikishi from the top of the cell onto the truck that Vince had brought to the ring.
Crazy
Ooh,
sequence,
that shit
man.
was nuts, man.
One of the craziest sequences ever in Hell in a Cell history. And I do recall Shane McMahon had to guide him through that to do it. Did you tell me that or?
I did hear that story before, but no,
Yeah.
Shane McMahon gave the prep talk to the Dudleys, Hardys, and Edge and Christian before the TLC at SummerSlam. The same night he did that fall in the match with Steve Blackman.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He gave him the pep talk of like being safe and not being too dangerous. The same night he did that.
Right. But man, that must have been scary, man. Like I know you're
Oh
falling
hell
on
yeah!
look, you're falling on a bed. Like you gotta remember now, it was a bed full of like it was like what cow like what's it called? Just gravel chips or whatever you call it, right?
Yeah, it was protected. Like yeah, it was protected, no doubt about it.
Still
But
though,
still, to
still
fall
to
from that
fall from that
distance,
height,
yeah.
man.
And it's crazy. That was the second crazy bump Rikishi took that year. The first one being the splash from the top of the cage to Val
Yeah,
Venus at Fully Loaded.
yeah,
But this one was probably worse.
yeah. Oh my god, just scarier too.
Yeah. But that's why he didn't bleed because he did that spot. So that's understandable.
Right. But yeah, everybody bled, man, and then they go back into the ring, and I love how Austin and Rock had a few minutes
Stare
with each
down.
other, stare
Yeah, they had
down,
to
go
stare
have a few
down.
minutes with each other to go 1-on-1 for a bit, and then Angle gets involved, and
Triple
yeah,
H gets
just
involved.
yeah, Triple H gets involved too, and it looked like at first like man, Rock was gonna win it, and then Austin looked like he had it, and then you know Austin and Triple H they gave each Austin gave Triple H a neck breaker, then all of a sudden then out of nowhere Kurt Angle just comes out of nowhere and just crawls, puts his finger on the Rock and gets the pin and retains his title.
Yeah, he barely won. He literally only had like one hand on top of the rock to get the pin. But
Literally.
damn, I was so shocked and also so pissed at the same time. I said, bro, after all this, he still won.
Five other guys, man, in Hell in a Cell. Five.
Yo, but I will say that was one of the biggest wins of Angle's career, especially up to that
Oh,
point.
true. Oh, true, true,
Ooh,
true. True. I mean,
yeah,
we,
they
we
put him
talk
on.
about we talk about his title win against The Rock at No Mercy earlier that a couple months prior, but him retaining the title against five other guys inside Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, they made him look really strong coming out of this. Yeah, they
Oh,
really put him on the map with this match.
of course. Ooh.
Yeah, like if he didn't have credibility before this match as far as being the champion, they definitely gave it to him from this match.
Hmm.
But to send us home happy, Austin stunned Angle to end the show.
I know, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, and I think, and then I like how what Jr. said literally right before the show went off the air is how the war for the title is still going on, and he's right. He was
Yep.
right. He was right, and that
And
was the
that
end of it.
and that would lead to WWE having probably their best three consecutive pay-per-view run in their entire history. That being Royal Rumble, No Way Out, and WrestleMania 17.
So overall, I don't know. I'm not going to say the event because you said it was just fill-ins, right?
Filler, major league filler. Just
Yeah,
like Survivor Series 2001, just like Survivor Series 2014. Yeah, this is literally a one match show.
yeah. I'm just gonna talk about just the one match. Out of all the Hell in a Cell matches, right? Where will you rank this one at?
Um, I would say top 10. Yeah, I put it in the top 10.
Mm,
Yeah, it's hard to rank them honestly, but I would definitely throw this in the top 10. Maybe not top 5, but definitely in the top 10.
okay.
But I will say, as good as this match was, I don't think it was better than the Triple H and Cactus Jack Hell in a Cell from earlier that year.
Oh no 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 no
I don't think
no
it was better than that.
no.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think this is the one time where we got two Hell in a Cell main events in the same calendar year.
Yeah.
At No Way Out, and yeah, also here.
Yeah. That rarely happens. So we probably wouldn't see that again until another few years because they had a Hell in a Cell main event at Vengeance '05, and then they had another one at Armageddon later that year
Oh yeah,
between
that's
Taker
right.
and Orton.
That's right. They
Yeah.
did. Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Wow.
But yeah, I will say, like I said, the main event was top notch. With
Oh,
the
of course.
talent you had in there and the stipulation, the Hell in a Cell, with it being for the title, yeah, everything about the main event was a home run.
I do know for one thing, as a whole, it's obviously literally top 10, one of the best matches in the Attitude Era.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it was a great way to end out one of WWE's best years back in
Yeah.
2000. Yeah, that was
Oh,
a
yeah.
great way for them to go out for that year.
Yes. May not have been a good pay per view because of all the fill in matches, though, but as far as the main event, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, certain situations, especially where a show like this is only centered around one specific match, as long as
Mhm.
that one specific match delivers and everybody's happy with it, then it's a success.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun times and a lot of fun memories of WWE during this time frame. I know parts of it haven't aged well since, but overall, there's a lot of more good, at least for me, to remember from that time than bad.
Yeah. It's always good to review. This is a good thing. This is why I came up with this segment because earlier we were very early in our show. We were always doing our anniversaries, and we have done that in a while. So I thought it would have been like, oh, this is a good time. Maybe we could do like a standalone segment where we could just review events from each month. So yeah, we're in the final month of 2024. It's crazy, and
Yep.
next month will be in a new year, January. And I was just thinking, like, man, what would be like the good event to recap? I was thinking maybe Royal Rumble 2000 or Royal Rumble '05
I was
or
thinking maybe I was thinking maybe Royal Rumble 1990.
1990. Okay.
Oh, I know you weren't born yet. I get
No, no,
that.
no, no. I don't care. I don't give a damn because I
Or
remember we were supposed to go over Survivor Series '89 and I wasn't even born yet. You know what I mean? So I don't care.
or, or even Royal Rumble 91 with the whole Iraqi war starting around that time. Also, it being in
Mm,
Miami. Yeah, that'd be another
yeah.
interesting one.
Okay. Well, we got time to think about it over. I'll post it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Maybe our followers will, chime in and, you know, chime in what they want to hear, maybe. But yeah, follow us on our social media platforms, man. We need all the followers we need. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. The link tree is on our bio, where you can follow us on. You can listen to our episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and Speaker, ladies and gentlemen. So
Also, subscribe to our YouTube page. Yes, we have a lot of content, a lot of our old episodes up there now, including some short clips, full episodes, on-screen episodes, which we started doing recently. And also, I'm going to be doing weekly wraps, like concerning WWE and the storylines. I'm going to be putting on the channel as well, so you can look out for those too. Also, my Diss the Hulk Hogan's on the channel too. Check out for that.
that's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here. And anything else you want to get into?
Um, nah, I think we pretty much summed it up for this week. I
Yeah.
cannot wait to go to Saturday night's main event this Saturday. I'm looking forward to see how the end of this year for WWE turns out because even though there's only 3 weeks left, they are not slowing down. Yeah. the last two Raws and the SmackDown we've gotten in the last week or so have showed that even though it's December, WWE is still like putting their foot on the gas, and I fucks with it.
They are, and they have no other choice, man, because next month is on the horizon, and Royal Rumble. You know what time it is for WrestleMania, so I love how the way things are going. Business is good and business is hot. I love it. Can't wait for Saturday night's main event again, December 14th. This Saturday, NBC, ladies and gentlemen, tune in. Can't wait for it. So, in the meantime, this is Jonathan Randall. This is my co host, my tag team partner, Kurt Cadet.
Conscious
So,
Kurt.
take conscious Kurt, ladies and gentlemen. Take care. God bless and always be cool.
And remember, most of all, during this time of the year, don't be an asshole or a douchebag in real life or social media, because that shit is for the birds. And also, I'll make a rap this about you if you do too.
All right, man. Take
All right,
care.
take care, guys.